Your dog growled at your best friend the moment they walked through the door. You laughed it off. 3 months later, that person betrayed you in the worst way possible. Coincidence? Science says absolutely not. Your dog knew, and by the end of this video, you'll never ignore your dog's instincts again. Welcome to Canine Mind, the channel that goes deep into the extraordinary world of dogs. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button right now, because what you're about to learn will completely change the way you see your dog forever. Dogs are not just loyal companions. They are living, breathing lie detectors. They are emotional radars. They are biological warning systems that evolution has been fine-tuning for thousands of years. And most of us have absolutely no idea just how powerful their minds really are. So let's break it all down, starting with ability number 8. Ability number 8. Dogs can identify a cruel person and refuse to trust them. Here's something that will make you think twice about anyone your dog doesn't like. A groundbreaking study published in the journal Neuroscience and Biobehavioral Reviews set out to answer a question that dog owners have been asking for generations. Can dogs actually judge a person's character? The researchers designed a social experiment. A dog owner was struggling to open a sealed container while 2 actors stood nearby. In one scenario, the actor stepped forward and helped. In another, the actor stood there doing absolutely nothing. And in the third, the actor flat out refused to help and turned away. The dogs watched every single second of this. After each scenario played out, the actors were instructed to offer a treat directly to the dog.
Now, you'd think a hungry dog would take food from just about anyone, right? That's where it gets fascinating. The dogs were far more likely to accept a treat from the person who helped their owner. Most dogs also took food from the passive bystander. But when the actor who had refused to help extended a hand with a treat, the dogs turned away. They wanted nothing to do with that person. Think about what that means. The dog had no personal history with that actor. That actor had never done anything directly to harm the dog. But the dog watched how that person treated its owner, made a moral judgment, and acted on it. Dogs are not just reacting to how you treat them. They are watching how you treat the people they love. And that's just number 8. Wait until you hear number 7. Ability number 7. Dogs can figure out when you're lying to them. A research team in Japan wanted to know something even more unsettling. Can dogs detect dishonesty? Not cruelty, not aggression, but the specific act of deception. What they found should make every dog owner pay close attention. The experiment worked like this. 2 containers were placed in front of a dog. One had food hidden inside, the other was completely empty. A person pointed to the container with the food. The dog went to it, found the treat, and was happy. Simple enough. But then the same person pointed to the empty container. The dog trotted over, found nothing, and returned confused and disappointed. Now here's where it gets really interesting. On the 3rd round, the same person pointed back to the container that actually had food inside it. A logical dog, if dogs were purely logic-driven, would follow the pointing finger and find the reward. But that's not what happened.
The majority of the dogs simply did not follow the instruction. They had clocked this person as unreliable. In one single act of deception, that person had lost the dog's trust entirely. Dogs don't forget. They don't give endless second chances. Once you've shown a dog who you really are, that information is filed away permanently. Which brings us perfectly to number 6, and this one is going to hit you right in the heart. Ability number 6. Your dog will remember your scent for the rest of its life. Of all the incredible things dogs can do, this one might be the most emotionally powerful. A dog's sense of smell is estimated to be somewhere between 10,000 and 100,000 times more sensitive than a human's. But it's not just about detecting odors, it's about storing them, connecting them to emotions, and never letting them go. Research has shown that when a dog picks up the scent of someone who has brought them joy and security, the reward centers of their brain light up. The same neurological response that humans experience when they smell the perfume or cologne of someone they deeply love, that is what your dog feels when it catches your scent after you've been away. There's even evidence suggesting that the longer you're absent, the more intense that emotional response becomes upon your return. Your dog isn't just excited because you're back. Your dog is experiencing a flood of emotional memory. Every walk, every cuddle, every moment of safety you've ever given them, all triggered by a single breath of your scent. And here's the part that stays with you. If an owner is gone for a very long time or never comes back, dogs don't simply move on and forget. The absence of that familiar scent registers as a real loss. Dogs grieve. And they grieve through smell. So the next time your dog buries their nose into your sleeve when you come home, understand that something profound is happening. They are reading the entire story of your bond. But scent isn't the only sense dogs use to read the world around them. Number 5 is going to completely change how you look at your dog's eyes. Ability number 5. Dogs can read human facial expressions. For a long time, scientists debated whether animals could truly interpret the emotional expressions on a human face, or whether they were simply reacting to tone of voice or body movement. Then, a team of researchers in Austria designed an experiment that settled the debate once and for all, at least when it comes to dogs. They used a touchscreen device and presented dogs with images of human faces, specifically photographs showing either a clearly happy expression or an unmistakably angry one. The images were cropped so that only the upper half or the lower half of the face was visible, removing any other contextual clues. Some dogs were trained to press their nose against happy faces to receive a reward. Others were trained to press against angry faces. Then the researchers switched it up. They showed the dogs new faces, faces they had never seen before, and tested whether the dogs could still correctly identify the expression. They could, consistently. The dogs had not just memorized a template. They had developed an actual understanding of what human emotional expressions look like. But there was a detail in this study that stood out above everything else. Before any training took place, before the dogs had learned the rules of the game, they already showed a natural reluctance to press their nose against images of angry human faces.
No one had taught them that angry faces were threatening. They already knew. That instinctive awareness didn't come from nowhere. It came from thousands of years of dogs and humans evolving together, learning each other's emotional language. Your dog has been studying your face their entire life, and they understand far more than you realize. We're only halfway through, and things are about to get even more extraordinary. Number 4 involves something that no human sense could ever replicate. Ability number 4. Dogs can smell your intentions before you've spoken a single word. You could be smiling at a person, shaking their hand, being perfectly polite, and your dog would still know something is off. How? Because your body is broadcasting a chemical signal that your dog is reading in real time, and you have absolutely no control over it. When you feel uneasy around someone, even if you're suppressing it, even if you don't fully acknowledge it yourself, your body responds. Stress hormones shift, adrenaline is released, your perspiration changes in composition. To a human standing next to you, none of this is detectable, but to a dog, every single one of those changes has a distinct odor, and your dog is picking up all of it. A dog's nose contains up to 300 million olfactory receptors. Humans have around 6 million. The part of the dog's brain dedicated to processing smell is proportionally 40 times larger than ours. This is not a minor upgrade. This is a completely different sensory experience of the world. Research has demonstrated that dogs can detect shifts in human neurochemistry through changes in the pheromones a person emits.
This means your dog may recognize that something is wrong with the situation before you've even processed the feeling consciously. There are documented cases of dogs becoming agitated or aggressive toward individuals shortly before those individuals acted violently, as though the dog had sensed the emotional state of that person and understood what it meant. And it works in the other direction too. A study examining nearly 700 people found a clear statistical connection between a person's emotional state and their likelihood of being bitten by a dog. People who approach dogs with calm, confident energy were bitten far less frequently than those who were anxious, tense, or afraid. Dogs are not reading your words, they are reading your chemistry. So when your dog growls at someone your instincts already made you uneasy about, pay attention. You and your dog may be sensing exactly the same thing. You're just using different tools to do it. But the sense of smell goes even deeper than detecting bad people. Number 3 is where it gets genuinely life-changing. Ability number 3. Dogs can detect serious illness inside the human body.
This is not folklore. This is not exaggeration. This is peer-reviewed science that is already saving human lives. A research team at the University of California, Davis conducted a study in which dogs were trained to distinguish between tissue samples from cancer patients and samples from healthy individuals. The dogs performed with a level of accuracy that stunned the researchers. Malignant cells produce volatile organic compounds that differ from those produced by healthy tissue, differences so subtle that no conventional medical instrument at the time could detect them, but the dogs could.
In the United Kingdom, an organization called Medical Detection Dogs has been at the forefront of this field for years. They train dogs to identify the odor signature of various cancers, including prostate, breast, colorectal, and lung cancer, in samples of breath, urine, and biological tissue. The implications of this work are enormous. Non-invasive, early cancer screening, accessible, rapid, potentially life-saving on a massive scale. But cancer is not the only thing dogs can smell. People living with type 1 diabetes face a daily, sometimes hourly challenge. Their blood glucose levels can drop to dangerous lows with very little warning. When this happens, the body releases a specific set of chemical byproducts that are measurable in the breath and on the skin. An organization called Dogs for Diabetics has trained dogs to alert their owners the moment those chemical signals appear, giving the person time to eat, treat, or seek help before a medical crisis unfolds. And it doesn't stop there. Trained dogs have demonstrated the ability to predict epileptic seizures before they happen, alert migraine sufferers to an incoming episode, and in clinical trials, successfully detect malaria and early-stage Parkinson's disease through scent alone. Think about that. Your dog isn't just a companion. In the right circumstances, your dog could be the reason you're still alive. Now, there are two more abilities we haven't covered yet, and they explain something every dog owner has wondered about. Why does your dog adore some people instantly and completely ignore others? Number 2 holds the answer. Ability number 2. Dogs can read body language with extraordinary precision. You've seen it happen. Two dogs are approaching each other on a leash. One is loose and wiggly, tail sweeping side to side. The other is stiff, head low, eyes locked. You might not be able to read the difference immediately. Your dog already knows everything about that encounter before it begins. Animal behavior specialists have long understood that dogs are masters of biomechanical communication. Every micro-movement carries information. A tail held high and rigid means something completely different from a tail held low and fast-wagging. A dog that freezes mid-step is communicating threat. A dog that does a full-body shake after meeting another dog is releasing tension. These signals are ancient, instinctive, and processed at a speed that conscious human thought cannot match. And crucially, dogs apply this same analytical lens to humans. If someone walks into your home with tight shoulders, a clipped stride, and eyes that don't quite meet yours, your dog has already cataloged all of it. If someone's words say, "I'm friendly," but their posture says something entirely different, your dog is listening to the posture. A 2016 study published in Animal Cognition found that dogs can integrate information from multiple sensory channels simultaneously, combining what they hear, see, and smell into a unified assessment of a person's emotional state and intent. This is why dogs trained in law enforcement or personal protection are so effective. It is not simply obedience or aggression. It is an almost superhuman capacity for reading the behavioral microsignals that people leak unconsciously in every moment of every interaction. Your dog is doing this for you, right now, every single day. Every person who walks through your front door is being evaluated. And the result of that evaluation gets stored, remembered, and updated every time that person returns. We've covered so much already, but we've saved the most important one for last. Number 1 is the ability that ties everything together, and it's the reason you should always trust your dog's gut. Ability number 1. Dogs can pick up on emotional energy, and they've been doing it for 15,000 years. Everything we've covered in this video, the lie detection, the scent memory, the facial expression reading, the chemical sensing, all of it flows from one fundamental truth. Dogs have been co-evolving with human beings for somewhere between 15,000 and 40,000 years, depending on which archaeological evidence you favor. That is an almost incomprehensible stretch of shared history. And in that time, the dogs that were best at reading human emotional states were the dogs that thrived. They got more food. They received more protection. they were allowed to stay close to the fire. Evolution, over tens of thousands of generations, has produced an animal that is not merely trained to respond to humans, but genetically wired to understand us at a level that no other species on Earth can match. A landmark study conducted by researchers at the Eötvös Loránd University in Budapest found that dogs follow human social cues more intuitively than even our closest genetic relatives, chimpanzees. Dogs have developed a specific sensitivity to human gaze, human pointing gestures, and human emotional expression that appears to be hardwired rather than learned. More recent neuroimaging research has shown that the brains of dogs respond to the emotional content of human voices in the same regions that human brains use to process emotion.
When you speak to your dog in a warm, loving tone, their brain processes not just the sound, but the feeling behind it, and responds in kind. This is not a one-way relationship. Dogs don't just absorb our emotional energy, they mirror it, respond to it, and in many cases try to regulate it. If you are anxious, a well-bonded dog will often press close to you, offering physical contact as a form of emotional stabilization. If you are sad, many dogs will seek your face, attempting to make eye contact. These are not random behaviors. These are deeply intentional acts of emotional communication from an animal that has spent thousands of years learning the language of human feeling. So the next time your dog locks eyes on a stranger and something shifts in their posture, when that low rumble starts in their chest and they plant their feet, ask yourself this: what do they know that you don't? Because based on everything science has shown us, the answer might be quite a lot. If this video opened your eyes to just how extraordinary your dog really is, subscribe to Canine Mind right now. We go deep into the science, the behavior, and the emotional intelligence of dogs every single week. Share this with someone who has a dog, because every dog owner needs to understand just how much their dog truly sees. And leave a comment below telling us about a time your dog seemed to know something about a person before you did, because I guarantee you have a story, and we want to hear it.